What is up, everybody? This is Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. I'm coming at you from the Casey's in Newton, Iowa. There's a Love's across the street, but you know I'm all about that off-brand truck stop life, so figure this will be a good place to shut down. Trying to run out to Utah as fast as I can, so maybe I can chill at the terminal for 24 hours before I need to deliver my load. Now, I turned down 2 loads to get this load, and if you know anything about me, I'm really not about going west of Cheyenne in the winter. Not that I'm afraid of driving in the elements, I'm just afraid of having a truck sitting around for some bad weather. So, anyway, I just delivered out in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. I did a split log to drop off my load. So I got out in the area, sat for about 6 hours, left to go drop off my load. I was assuming I was going to get a load for the next day, which kind of did happen. But I deliver the load, get out to the truck stop, and I get a pre-plan. And the pre-plan is going, it was a great load. You know what I'm saying? To me, great is not always about the money. It's about the quality of life. You know what I'm saying? Sorry to say, you know what I'm saying. I'm going to try to wean myself off that real quick. But going somewhere in Connecticut. And I'm just like, once I get out to Pennsylvania, that's about as far east as I want to go. So I just said, you know what? I don't want this. Well, and the receiver. I've been to this receiver before. Nightmare. So I relayed that message to the dispatcher, who's kind of working for my fleet manager. Well, he's on vacation, but it was night, so he wouldn't have been there anyway. But I said, not interested in going to the Northeast right now, and this receiver is a nightmare. And basically kind of softly decline the load. And that was going to be a load. The one thing I liked about the load, it was only 275 miles. There was an open window to pick it up anytime from right then till 8 p.m. the next day, and then delivering at 6 p.m. the next day. Now, a little bit too much time on that load as far as that goes, which wasn't necessarily a problem, but delivering at 6 p.m. in Connecticut with no parking around, I just wasn't interested in it. So it's not always about the money. It's about the quality of life, so turn that down. I'm thinking I'm about to get a chance to go to sleep, get another pre-plan. Now, this pre-plan I didn't want for a number of different reasons. I've been up since about 2 o'clock in the morning. It's now probably about 10 p.m. and it needed to get picked up by midnight. Now, I had the hours on my clock, but because I split my log and really didn't sleep, I just didn't feel comfortable driving out that. I think the pickup was about an hour and a half away. So I was just like, going to Maine, which was I could have lived with one of the two. Maybe not being 100% rested, or maybe going to Maine and being 100% rested, but that dual combo, I mean, going to Maine defeated the whole purpose anyway. I would have just taken the other load if I was going to go deeper into the Northeast. So I just said, you know, I'm tired, not interested. I need a load that picks up tomorrow. I mean, I will, you know, if I have to, I'll take the first load you sent, but I really don't want to. So I got a load that was picking up down there. You know, if you're with Prime or any refrigerated company, you know there's that area in Pennsylvania where all the mushrooms come out of there. So it was a load that was picking up at 08 in the morning and headed out to Utah. Plenty of time on the load. Like I said, I'm going to get out there maybe 24 hours early. But the thing I didn't like about the load is already like 10, 11 o'clock when I got that load. To get to the shipper on time, I had to be driving by about 4:45. So I think the pickup was actually 07:30. And actually there was a window on the load. I should have just said, open up the window. But things worked out for the best, picking it up early. But I really only got a few hours of sleep, go out there, pick it up, run it out. So headed to Utah, which is Salt Lake City, which is not my favorite place to be. But sometimes you got to pick your poison. So, I spoke to a few people about how their fleet managers react to them turning down loads and asking questions and things like that. And, I talk a lot about how I relate with things, and a lot of what I'm going to tell you is I think that I am extremely lucky to have my fleet manager based on some of the things that I hear people say, and some of them are just downright disrespectful. I'm just going to have to call it what it is. But a long time ago I asked my fleet manager, because somebody asked me the question, so I directly asked him, hey, I had somebody ask me if fleet managers, or if, I think I just asked in general, fleet managers retaliate if a driver turns down load. He laughed and said it would take him more time or more effort to retaliate against the driver for turning down a load than just finding another load. And I'm finding that not everybody sticks to those principles or has that same belief. And I was on the phone with this other driver, and I'm trying to figure out why there's such a hard line on so many different areas. And the only thing I could think of is a lot of times, if you're comfortable with your job in your space, then you don't allow things to upset you as much. So maybe if you got a new fleet manager or something, and his fleet's not necessarily humming and he's under the gun or trying to do whatever, maybe, or maybe just doesn't have good management skills. A lot of times good manager will defer to employees and actually build trust through that. And I think that a lot of people feel that they need to have this alpha personality to actually gain respect from people that work for them. And a lot of times, from what I've learned in that role, is deference actually builds a more loyal group than trying to manage by fear and intimidation and things like that. And at first when I heard this, maybe a year ago, I was thinking maybe somebody was exaggerating, and then I started asking, send me the message. And at first I was just thinking maybe, because at first it was a company driver, and I was like thinking it was maybe just a relation between company drivers and fleet, or company fleet managers. And then I've had a few lease fleet or drivers have send their messages and correspondence, and I'm just like, I just find that I am extremely lucky with my fleet manager. And in this conversation I had with this guy, he's asking me for advice or how he should handle it, and I did the best I could. But really, a lot of all I had to tell him was, or could tell him was, I'm just lucky. I'm lucky that I don't have to deal with this, because if I did, I would not be at Prime, potentially, and I would not definitely be adding to anything else at Prime. And I think what happens is, maybe it's not a bad, and some of these things, I'm going to tell you, maybe would not be the same fleet manager in the future as he is today. Meaning, if you're concerned about what people think about your job performance from maybe their higher ups, then a lot of times you're managing out of fear, and that fear can turn into anger or intolerance or whatever to, drivers below you. But one thing I didn't tell you, if you happen to be watching this video, is they did mention this in a video or a weekly sales meeting probably about a year ago, and they were talking about this topic, and they said, this came out of Steve Wucke's mouth directly, is don't be a victim. So if you're having problems with this, bring it up in an appropriate way with your current fleet manager. Talk about things we spoke about. But then if things aren't, and keep escalating it. Because there's no reason for a driver to leave this, what I believe to be an excellent company, over the random choice of a certain fleet manager. So that was what was said from their mouth. Don't be a victim. Advocate for yourself. Do not leave this company over one fleet manager. There are a ton of great fleet managers out there. I've talked to a few of them, and just know of others through other drivers. So anyway, that wasn't my point in this video. But yeah, I'm not necessarily a driver that will turn down loads for money, things like that. I'm an averages guy. Things all average out, those kind of things. To me, I'm more about quality of life, and my quality of life, isn't delivering in the Northeast at late in the evening where I got to worry about a whole nother set of issues once I get unloaded and things like that. So I'm not one to turn down a lot of loads, but when I do, those are going to be the reasons. I think that a lot of people at Prime, specifically through the Facebook page, posts and things like that, look at everything so individually. And I'm going to just tell you, because I talk to a lot of people, you cannot nitpick your way into having better weeks. If you're the driver that says, I just take low miles, high profit loads, I guarantee you, if you take 100 drivers at Prime, the ones that drive the most miles probably do the best at the end of the year. On average. You might have a few anomalies in there, but I'm just telling you, from what I've seen, what I've heard, there's not somebody out there that's out there, I'm going to take that one, I'm not going to take that one, because of money solely. I just don't see it from the people I talk to. And I talk to a lot of people. Hey, shout out to, I forget his name. I met him before. Saw him out at the Service Plaza in Ohio last night. He said, what's up? And then Kenworth, I think it was Kenworth Rider, met him this morning out at the Manuka Pilot out there getting my fuel on. That was just a bad fueling experience altogether, because you couldn't even, I had the one pump where you couldn't have the thing clicked and then walk away from it. You had actually stand there and hold this thing in 21 degree weather with 45 mile an hour winds. That was horrible. But anyway, good seeing you out there. And everybody I talked to lately, I've talked to a lot of people lately, which is what gives me an insight into Prime. It lets me know, first of all, that I'm at a great company on one side, and then from the other side, I'm at a company that could use some work as well. And you know, just like they say in the meetings, we're not perfect. We try to be, but we're not. Do everything we can. So I know I kind of got off direction, but hopefully it's been an entertaining 15 minutes either way. Can't win them all. I appreciate you stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation as always. Comment, subscribe. Chosen one out.